Something unbelievable is happening around Alex Eala at the US Open before she has even played her first singles match. The excitement surrounding the 21-year-old Filipino star has grown so rapidly that fans are reportedly struggling to get inside the stadium, while demand for tickets has sent some resale prices soaring. What makes this even crazier is that this isn't simply a normal Grand Slam crowd waiting for a big-name player. Thousands of Filipino supporters have been turning up with Philippine flags, chanting Alex Eala's name and creating an atmosphere that organizers simply couldn't ignore. Her mixed doubles appearance with Felix Auger-Aliassime became an early test of just how powerful that fanbase could be, and the response was massive. Arthur Ashe Stadium, with its enormous capacity, was already packed, leaving other supporters outside trying to follow the action. The attention became so intense that giant viewing screens were reportedly brought in around the venue so fans who couldn't get inside could still watch. And that tells you something important about Alex Eala's rise. She hasn't needed a deep US Open singles run to become one of the tournament's biggest stories. The crowd arrived before the results did. The hype arrived before the first singles ball was struck. And now the biggest question is what happens when Alex finally steps onto the singles court. Because if this is the reaction before her tournament has truly begun, New York may be about to witness something much bigger. But the ticket frenzy is only one part of what makes Alex Eala's US Open story so unusual. What is happening around her is starting to look less like ordinary player support and more like a full-blown movement. Long before Alex stepped onto the singles court, Filipino fans were already making their presence impossible to miss. Philippine flags appeared throughout Flushing Meadows, chants of "Let's go, Alex!" echoed around the grounds, and supporters kept arriving even after it became clear that the biggest stadium areas were filling up quickly. For many of these fans, watching Alex isn't simply about seeing another professional tennis player compete. It is a chance to support someone carrying Filipino pride onto one of the biggest sporting stages in the world. That emotional connection helps explain why the demand has become so intense. Reports of resale prices reaching several times the original face value created another wave of attention, with a grounds pass originally priced around $65 reportedly listed for hundreds of dollars. Those resale listings don't mean every ticket actually sold at the highest asking price, but they reveal just how aggressive the demand became around the tournament. And there was another fascinating detail. Alex hadn't even started her women's singles campaign. Her first major appearance came through mixed doubles alongside Felix Auger-Aliassime, giving fans an early opportunity to see her inside Arthur Ashe Stadium. The Canadian star quickly got a first-hand look at the phenomenon surrounding his partner. Instead of feeling like the crowd belonged entirely to one of the world's established stars, the energy repeatedly shifted toward Alex and the Filipino supporters behind her. That is a remarkable position for a player who is still building her reputation on the Grand Slam stage. Her popularity has been growing tournament by tournament, and New York became the latest place where that momentum became impossible to ignore. Toronto had already shown how strongly fans could respond to Alex. Cincinnati added another layer, with increased attention and ticket demand surrounding her appearances. Now Flushing Meadows was experiencing the same pattern on an even bigger stage. The difference this time was the scale. The US Open is one of the largest tennis events anywhere, and Arthur Ashe is the biggest stadium in the sport. Yet the demand around Alex was strong enough that fans who couldn't get into the stadium still wanted a way to watch her. That's why the giant viewing screens became such a powerful image. They weren't just screens. They represented the size of the audience Alex had created before her single story had even begun. And this is where the situation gets really interesting. A player can become popular after winning a Grand Slam, defeating a superstar, or making a deep tournament run. Alex Eala is building that attention while the biggest part of her US Open journey is still ahead of her. Her singles debut now carries an entirely different level of anticipation. Every point will be watched by fans who have already shown that they are willing to travel, spend money, and fill the grounds just to be there. Every victory could make the next session even harder to get into. Every deep round could send the attention to another level. And if Alex produces a major upset or makes a serious run through the draw, the scenes in New York could become something the tournament simply cannot ignore. The most surprising part may be that this entire explosion started before the first singles match. The crowd has already spoken. Now Alex has the opportunity to answer on the court. And now comes the moment that could turn all of this incredible attention into something even bigger. Alex Eala arrived at the US Open with the spotlight already fixed firmly on her. But the real test is only beginning. The packed crowds, Philippine flags, non-stop chants, huge ticket demand and unbelievable buzz around Flushing Meadows have created an atmosphere few players experience before their first singles match. Now Alex has to walk onto the court carrying something far heavier than a racket. Expectations. When thousands of people are waiting to see you, every point suddenly feels bigger, every mistake gets noticed, and every spectacular winner can send the entire crowd into chaos. But Alex has already shown that she isn't afraid of the biggest stages. Her rise has repeatedly attracted larger audiences, and the connection between Alex and her Filipino supporters is becoming one of the most fascinating stories surrounding this year's tournament. These fans aren't simply watching from home. They are traveling, buying tickets, waving their country's flag and filling the grounds because they want Alex to know that she isn't standing on that court alone. The mixed doubles result may not have gone her way, but the reaction surrounding that match revealed something much more important. The Alex Eala phenomenon doesn't disappear after one loss. The crowd still came. The stadium was still packed. Supporters were still waiting outside. That means the attention is no longer tied to a single result. It is connected to Alex herself, her journey, her personality, and what she represents to Filipino tennis fans around the world. And that could become incredibly powerful if she starts winning in the singles draw. Imagine what happens if Alex pulls off a major upset in New York. Imagine the atmosphere if she reaches the later rounds and every match becomes another must-see event. The same supporters who already created an unbelievable scene could return in even greater numbers, turning each appearance into another spectacle. Suddenly, the conversation wouldn't be about whether Alex Eala has become a major attraction. It would be about how far this phenomenon can go. That's what makes this US Open so important for her career. She isn't arriving quietly and hoping people notice. The attention is already there. The fans are already waiting. The tennis world is already watching. Now she has the opportunity to give them something unforgettable on the court. The US Open is filled with Grand Slam champions, former world number ones and established stars. Yet Alex has managed to create enormous excitement before even beginning her singles campaign. The hype came before the biggest result. The crowd came before the biggest victory. And now everything depends on what Alex does next. Can she handle the pressure? Can she turn this incredible support into confidence? Can she make a deep run and give thousands of Filipino fans the moment they've been waiting for? Because if New York looked this wild before her first singles match, nobody knows what this place could look like if Alex Eala starts winning. The Alex Eala effect has already reached Flushing Meadows, but the biggest chapter of her US Open story may only be beginning.